session of Real Rookie Racing off. Get these links shared up, get everything moving here. And go from there. Turn on a little bit of auto cam so you guys can see some chaos in action while I get things kicked off. And check there's one more notification. Alright, everything is all set up there. I am going to keep my Discord a little bit closed today so we can just enjoy the chaos at hands. And we'll get things kicked off with some real rookie racing. Now they got half an hour qualifying in today's track being Portland. I'll take a little peek up at the top of your screen. And we do got a little bit of something we can do for y'all today. We actually now have, oh, did they reset? Looks like it did reset. Well, at the very least, we can do it the old-fashioned way. Where is it? There we go. And there we go. Put you with the old school cam for the action. I might honestly just do qualifying like this. Am I still able to click through everybody? I can't. Like, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so everybody's spots are a little bit different than I thought they would be, but look at this. We could just get some old-timey action going. I say old-timey, some of us actually remember when the things looked like this, but you know, for you youngins, this is what an old-school lap would have looked like in our favor, and it just doesn't look as good from behind the wheel. You can kind of see a little bit funky having a drone following these guys around, but that bonnet cam really brings that 90s to the action. Some of you are going to wonder, why do you even have this? Why do you bother with something like this? Well, the answer is simple. We're planning ahead. Now, at the end of this lap, I will obviously take a little peek back at the normal things. But for now, let's just enjoy the lap. Let's see how things go, see where things finish off. Looks like right now we are on board with Max Yang, who is currently working their way down the back straight, heading in to a nice little final sector. And they've got a big corner coming up here that really changes everything. Well, that acceleration into the straight is what we're watching for. That is what really makes a difference. That is where these guys are going to have to push their speed and get things into the norm, so to speak. But let's take on a look here. We do now have everything loaded in as far as these custom liveries go, so that'll be nice to watch with them. A little nice entrance into the first chicane. Let's take a look at some of the best laps already setting into the service. So Nick Edwards, Max Yang, Deadly Daniel, everybody out with a quick lap. Let's peek over though to this man right here, Flair, who was having some phenomenal laps in the practice session, but of course broadcaster's curse strikes him strong, and we'll have to regroup from there. That's one thing you can always count on us for, is a little bit of broadcaster's curse. But let's check in with Big Blue Dart, who is on a hot lap, currently coming up on that little Mazda there of Logan Hartwell. Logan gonna let Dart try and dive through, or dart through I should say, for his clean lap, and we'll see what that comes to. It does look like Dart's gonna be able to sneak away. I'm seeing all clean sections on this lap. Is it going to be a clean overall lap? As he comes across the line in a moment's time, just off of his pace, not able to set the fast time. So let's jump back over to Flair now, who did have a very nice sector 1 and is looking to keep things clear here, or clean here, through sectors 2 and 3. So that entrance into the straight is a very crucial one. It's definitely going to help to get a smooth entrance and also to keep some racers near you so that you are able to get a nice draft through here. Now you want to be able to draft early on because this is not a too wide section. We actually have raced here before, and every time we do, we've seen just what kind of chaos can unfold trying to treat this like a too wide section. So it's a nice way to get that move out quick and early. It's essential to get that move out quick and early is a better way to say it. But Flair will come across the line with the 1:27.448. That is going to be the fastest lap of the qualifying session so far. But I don't think we saw anybody else in the 27s during the NA practice event. So I don't know that he'll have like crazy competition up front. Only one way to find out. Now, across the board, we do see a couple other green laps going up. Let's check in with Fox, who was going to say we haven't seen a lap from on our live timings boards before, but it looks like they had a little bit of an issue just going a bit wide. Now, I know some of you guys watching the broadcast is eyeing this little runoff. It is not a runoff you want to take unless you're looking to go head-to-head for a quick little drag race down the strip, which I'm kind of surprised none of our racers have lined up with each other to just do for the sake of doing. That is a classic Real Rookie Racing move, is just to get around and get moving onto that strip, but we'll see what happens. Kieran Martin now coming around the final corner, also in the greens, also looking to set a lap, already in the top 8 as it currently stands with 16 on the grid. Can they make it all the way through? Or a little bit of improvement here, looking at getting the P5, and they fall just flat, about half a second off to find in these next couple sections. Obviously that massive curve into the chicane is going to be the killer. Yep, as it boots you into the grass if you don't take it just right. Now you can see where the line is, as you can see all the tire tracks from all the various attempts at finding the smoothest way around in front of you. But only these guys will be able to show us exactly how it's done. And speaking of how it's done, let's take a look now at, I believe this is Big Blue Dart coming around. So that is a harsh line in. I think may have waited a little bit too long for the break. As we see, that looks a little bit more comfortable. You eat that curve a little bit. There's Big Blue Dart. So it was actually a big island boy ahead of them who had that awkward entrance in. But plenty of time in qualifying to try and figure out these lines, figure out the best way ins and out of the track. I gotta say, Portland is one that we get a lot of mixed opinions on. If you find the line, it is actually a very fun, very smooth track to get through, especially this section right here. You can feel the speed difference throughout the whole back half if you have dialed it in, but not everybody's able to. Do we got a river running through the track or a lack of texture? It is a river that the trees are in. And I take it we go over said river at some point? No, it just ends. I feel like there were some artistic liberties taken with this. Ooh, look at that beautiful little moto trail and the back section. And also just ends again right there. Okay. Well, that's Portland for you. Let's jump on with Logan Hartwell. I believe Logan was one of the racers that joined in following the RSX 24 Hours of Nürburgring. If you guys haven't, it's on the eBall channel. That's IBAL. They have all of the playback there if you've got 24 hours to kill. But it was a phenomenal race. Had a couple of technical hiccups here, there, and everywhere. But that is what Assetto Corsa is known for. Once you start to break through that like 4-hour, 6-hour mark, and anytime you have real penalty involved, unfortunately, there's a lot of issues that can happen. It's a very specific program. You have to follow the rules to the T, and a lot of racers go into these events not having used it, and it causes for a little bit of miscommunications. They read the instructions on real penalty without knowing the nuances, and that's not their fault. It's just a interesting design. But you know, for stop and go, or for driver swaps, for example, you have to make it all the way past the start-finish line. For avoiding stop and goes after the driving swaps, someone has to be checking the live timings to make sure that your timer's going. You cannot cross pit lines. You have to figure out what the real penalty track limits are well ahead of time. It just involves a lot of trial and error practice before the events begin. And most racers, let's be honest, you guys all practice offline. You don't really try until that event itself actually kicks off. So can't say I blame you. I'm just calling it like it is. But Logan Hartwell coming around right now, currently looking to beat a 1:32.4, trying to find that extra time wherever they can. I see coming down that straightaway, trying to break into the 130s. And, you know, they got a chance at a 131 here. Can they do it? Ooh, just shy. They did see improvements on that Sector 3. And this is the big moment. This chicane, you got to carry a lot of speed through. And that coming to a near stop, I think, is what's hurting a lot of these racers. We've seen quite a few of them do it. And that's probably where that extra time is going. You can see the difference in speed through there as a couple of these guys really end up slowing down to avoid that curve. But you see racers like Max Yang welcoming the outside curve, and that gives them the advantage heading through those corners. Max currently with a 1:28.3, looking to shave off just a tenth if they can to catch up to Nick Edwards. They've got 17 minutes to find that 10th. But that means that Nick's got 17 minutes to find some improvements on their end as well. So we'll see what exactly that comes to, as Nick on a green Sector 1 and Max Yang having a little bit of a struggles to get the ball rolling. Currently 3/10 off the pace. I believe that is Nick right there. Nope, that's Kyle. I believe that is Nick right there. Currently struggling to stay ahead of that pace, but they are in the green nonetheless. So about a tenth and a half right now, and they could make a move on Grandmaster for that P2 spot. Would probably get him out of the pits and trying for another lap. Still appears to be in the clean sections, but struggling with that final corner, trying to use the draft to the advantage to pick up a little bit of time, and I don't think it will be enough time, as we see him teleport to the pits. Now we'll watch our favorite livery, the Marlboro Mo, head on out. I know I'm biased, but man, they got to bring back tobacco sponsorships to Formula One just for those reasons. We should also change ours to the safety car, as to not get anybody confused, but I always forget which the logo is, because as you can see, we have so many. Yeah, we'll use that one there. See if the lights pop on or not. We did have the lights button bound once upon a time, but unfortunately it just hasn't come to use anytime recently. So ended up getting rid of it just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Now, this is another one of these tracks where the name of the track is not, or sorry, the names of the corners are not showing, so we'll probably end up just naming them ourselves, as we see Nick Edward just weaving down the straight, trying to kill a little bit of time, not trying to get too close to the guy in front of him. But that is making things a little bit interesting, as he keeps his distance and keeps those tires warm. MX5 tires in this weather definitely a little bit trickier to keep warm. You see the track right now, or sorry, it's 23 degrees in the air, so probably a little bit warmer in the track. And there we go, just like that. Get a little bit of a flashbang, so to speak, as the sun comes out, the track temp goes up. We are now on 31 degrees on the track. That's going to help things out tremendously, as these guys are going to feel that in the tires, feel the extra grip here, and really these cars will start to come alive. I noticed there was 5 new liveries that we had to download to partake. Well, not to partake, but to really show you guys what everyone's rocking. So let's take a look around, see if we can figure out which ones they are. We do have your classic Apple livery here. The white ones at this time of day really shine bright, make it a little bit difficult for the camera. The St. Dito, we've seen the Sonax before. We've definitely seen the Maryland Racer. I know we've seen that one in passing. Cherry Blossoms for sure. Oop, definitely seen the gold Marlboro. And I'm not seeing anything new. Kira Martin, we're rocking the KMS rock. Now this is one you guys probably haven't seen in a while. Only driving slow because you have to poop. That's beautiful license plate. I respect that. But yeah, that is absolutely a real rookie racing classic. I want to say this is from maybe season 4, if I had to guess. And then just looking around, looks like Max Yang may be the only one to bring a new livery to the grid. So we'll take a little peek at it because I don't think we've seen this before. We currently have, let's see, a little 7-Up classic sponsorship there. We've got the wall. Some real rookie racing. You can see all over some nice liveries, and then Eddie Jordan tribute on the back. I love chaos. Always beautiful to see some of these tribute liveries. They're the ones that really shine, so to speak. Is that the one we want? It'll work. It's bright what we want. I think we want dark. Yeah, there we go. That's what we want. Now we can actually see these liveries a little bit better. Let's get back over to that Apple one. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, now you can at least see that there's a Macintosh on the top. That makes me feel a little bit better as the day goes on. We'll see what we can do there. And again, worst case scenario, just go old school with her. Now you can really see what that Macintosh livery would have looked like back in the day. They didn't have cameras like that, so it would have been a little bit more like this. Yeah, let's see if the gyroscope camera can keep up. It does make you feel like you're in the car a little bit, kind of sitting, waving across the dash, as you get a good sense of what these 90s lap videos really did look like. Usually the cameraman did end up outside the window, but you know, you gotta adapt. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Isn't that what they say? Never get old of that filter. Anyways, we will bounce out and continue carrying on with Fox. So you can see the amount of laps that people have done. Interesting to see that Flair's done 7 while Grandmaster Matt has only done 5. So Grandmaster taking some sweet time to go through here. We are going to put a little bit of an auto cam here just so I can handle something. Alright, we got that situated, kind of. And we'll jump back over to the action at hand as we've got Kier Martin currently working their way up towards Big Island Boy, looking for either a draft or a way around. And it looks like they're actually going to... I thought they were backing off, but the delta didn't change too much, so they might just be trying to keep the space while trying to keep a push lap going. And it looks like I don't think they're going to see any improvement this time around. All right, so this is the part where we got down into the final 10 seconds of the event. Let's look over to a couple of these racers with green sectors, which unfortunately right now for them is not any, but I do see Flair coming across the line, looking to see if he can get a little bit of improvement on this lap. So we'll hang with the man up front and see what it is that he's doing different. So a little bit of a cut on both sides of the lap on that one. Let's make sure on the next one that we're not cutting that one too hard, but I'm going to chalk that up to a mistake because I don't think anyone's race line involves hitting a wall. So we're going to say that's just an innocent mistake there. Flair lightening up the load here on the back half of the track, just going nice and slow. I think trying to put some distance between themselves and the other racers just before this straightaway, trying to make sure they get the best entrance in, best way through. Don't really want to risk losing the men behind. As they see they got a little bit of space and a little bit of time to do that, so just gonna try and keep those tires warm, gonna try and keep moving, see what it is that they come up with here as they head into that final corner of the track. And ooh, a little bit of a mess up there. That might hurt them heading into, yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be the kicker into the pit lane there, but we'll keep them moving as we've got Bobert now. Did have a little bit of an improvement on that lap. Currently has a 1:29.7, so needs to find about a half second to go. And look at that. See, that's the line that I was picturing for everybody here. You ride that curve just enough to not throw yourself off on the inside and swing to that outside the best you can. Remember, we do only follow the one tire on the track rule, so that is a pretty forgiving track limit, if we want to call it that. And we see Bobert now putting in some pace, putting in the work. A green sector 1, looks like they're right on pace with their previous, and just toying with it here. That one might hurt them a little bit. This is a very long straightaway to find yourself on the tail end of your acceleration, and I don't see a strong chance for them to make this up. They're going to want to hug that inside wall, make the track as short as possible, and they're going to have to pull something out of their butts here on this final 3 corners. It looks like they're starting it strong. This is really a Hail Mary section. You really have to just trust the car and throw it through the best that you can. Thankfully, Bobert was able to do that, gained a decent amount of time on this final sector, but unfortunately a rough sector 2 is going to prevent them from seeing any improvements on that one. Let's jump over to Fox though. Oh man, who seems to be in the pits. He did have 2 green sectors in a row, so I was hoping we'd see a little something from them there. Jump over now to Slappin', who's trying to shave just a couple tenths off their time, but can't seem to find the best place to do it. There's a lot going on. A lot of close calls, so to speak. We'll take a look at some of these gaps now. See, the whole grid is only sped by about 5 seconds a lap, which is, it can be a lot in some sections, but everybody seems to have a buddy. You got St. Dido and Fox right there neck and neck. You've got Big Island Boy, Kyle's, Charlie Top Hat, and Logan all within a half second of each other, slapping right awkwardly in a no man's land. And then Rick Nicholson and Bobert together, Big Blue Dart, Deadly Daniel, Kier Martin all together, and then Max Yang, Grandmaster Mac. Honestly, it's pretty close all around. Did Nick Edwards manage to sneak into the 27s? Oh, they both did. So Nick and Grandmaster have both snuck into those 27s. Definitely where they are trying to be. They're going to jump over real quick to Rick. Oh, well, was going to jump over to Rick Nicholson, but they find themselves in the pits now. So no improvement to come on this lap. Keir Martin up to a 128.060. So some strong consistency could be what they're looking for, as Deadly Daniel has a little bit of a run-in with the grass, but manages to keep things moving. Now, if you're wondering what kind of tires these guys are wearing, keep in mind, there's only the hards. There's nothing else that they can possibly choose, so that's going to make things nice and easy. As we've got a few battles to be dealing with today. So 4 minutes remaining. We're going to shift over to the auto cam and start to go over what some of these standings are looking like. Keep in mind, there's only 2 drops so far accounted for out of 5 total drops that are going to happen. So as we enter week 8, I believe that 3rd drop will fall off, and it'll only kind of increase from there. So with only 2 drops, and in keeping in mind that some of these guys have actually missed a decent amount of races, not too many, but you know, enough that they're going to need all 5 drops. We've got Grandmaster Matt currently with a 293 in the A-Class, Mogo with a 201, and Articulate Fox with a 175. Of those racers, only Grandmaster is here, and I actually don't see any other A-Class drivers at the moment on the grid. So that's a huge news for Grandmaster Matt, who's trying to put up as much as a cushion as they can before some of these other racers possibly get moved into the A-Class. It is dynamic ranking and scoring, so throughout the season, anybody can move up into that A-Class. I do think Daniel Cochran and Flair are the 2 to watch. They could join Grandmaster at any minute, and they're going to be trying their hardest to stay up that way. Nick Edwards, new name on the grid, possibly raced under a different name before, but clearly they have the pace to get up into that A-Class. They will have to partake in a decent amount of races between now and the end of the season, so probably all of these and all the GT3s to make their way all the way to A-Class. So don't know if they'll come into the mix. B-Class, though, Daniel Cochran, if he doesn't leave, currently leading with 293 points to left sink handle, who's got 287. Left sink handle not yet present tonight, but able to take a couple of drops as they've been here for a while. Keir Martin currently with 284 and is making it look difficult for Deadly to keep those points. This could be one of the weeks where Deadly starts to get caught up on. In the C-Class, we currently have Flair, one of the ones we think might get moved up, only winning 297 to 290 up against Max Yang, who's only 3 points away from slapping. So that consistency coming into play there in the D-Class. This is a tougher license to end up with. Really, this one comes down to safety rating and consistency. So Kyle's just moved up to he's got 300 points in the D-Class event. And MCP Tron, who is not here today, is now with 175. Actually, neither of our D-Class. Oh, there's MCP Tron right as I say that. So MCP Tron and Kyle's both are here. I stand corrected. In the rookie class, though, this is where things are getting interesting. Big Blue Dart has 288 points. Rick Nicholson has 286. And Bobert has 278. All 3 racers have been fighting it out very, very tough. And you can see all 3 of them in P7, 8, and 9 at the moment. Their times not separated by much. So again, this is going to be one where consistency and confidence ends up being the difference throughout the event. So something for us to watch out. As we head into the final minute of qualifying. We did just see Cads disconnect from the server. We're hoping they rejoin and can get a lap or 2 in. But let's take a peek at Nick Edwards, who is trying to find that last little bit on Flair. We'll see if they are able to make something happen. Currently in a clean lap, that might have been the one that hurt them. That was a tough angle into that final corner. I'm not sure if the line is on the outside or the inside of the curve as far as that one goes. We did see Cads reconnect, so that is a strong point there. As Nick Edwards will cross the line with improvement and creeps closer and closer to Flair, but not enough to catch the man himself as he rides that curb a little bit hard, and I don't think that's going to be the line he was looking for to wrap up his hot laps today. So I'm thinking this might be our tracks. I'm thinking this is going to be how we line up here on the final grid. Just trying to see if I can get everybody on my live times board. I do have them now, so all the way down to Kaz. Oh, and MCP, trying to see if I go out a little bit more. There you go. Now I've got the whole grid. It's just a little hard to read, but so be it. Let's end things with a nice little bonnet cam lap as I see, I want to say, is that Deadly Daniel, also known as Daniel Cochran here. It looks like they're just going through for yep, there you go. One of those. You got to try and get air where you can, but Logan Hartwell currently looking to just send things through, and we will join them on the 90s bonnet cam to end out our qualifying session, as it doesn't look like too many races are going to see improvements, not too many shifts. Oh, and as I say that, Keir Martin does go up to P4 with a stellar lap 1, taking the position away from Max Yang. It's like no one wants to be the bonnet cam. Every time we try, someone else ends up with some issues. Let's see if Kyle carries this one through to the line. As we see many racers not thrilled with the way that their qualifying went, but you know, a track like this, it's going to be very interesting to see where things lie. Is this a 45? It's not. It's a 2x20. So they got plenty of time, plenty of opportunity to make things back up. I'm not particularly worried about them. I think they'll be fine. This 90s bonnet cam never gets old, but unfortunately, it looks like the final corners are getting old for Kyle's. So just looking to finish up the lap, trying to get across the line, realizes they won't have much improvement before the qualifying session ends, but that is all she wrote. We only have a few minutes until our race begins. We see all these guys kind of just doing their best, trying to work their way around the grid. And you may have seen on the live timings a little bit of mention of the jump. This is the jump that they are referring to. If you hit like right here, you got to speed through this as quick as you can, and I believe that is what will launch you. A little bit scary, but it works. It's like a hidden jump. You will die. You know, we can guarantee you that much. But you'll have some fun in the process, and that's what it's all about. We also have a beautiful spot for some donuts there by the looks of it. I don't know if anyone was doing those on purpose, but they definitely did them. And possibly a corn maze for the children, you know, in the middle of the field. If there's one thing we know how to have, it's fun here. As all our racers return to the grid, get to take a look at the overall and see what we got. We've got out here Max Yang, I believe, in that livery. Well, we'll go through the names as we go through the starting grid. Marlboro Mo, Techley, the Maryland, Default, the Sonax Racers, the Macintosh, Cherry Blossom. I think that's the Arizona Cherry Blossom, right? Yeah, it is. It is. Not just Cherry Blossom, Arizona specifically. The Ferrari, Mazda, Classic, the Gold Marlboro, the inner workings of an MX5. This one, you know, honestly is one of my favorite ones that I've seen. Looks like it was added by one of our European racers, Teo. And I don't think we really got to see it in action too much. Oh yeah, it definitely was created by them with the way that you can see they've added some of our older decals to it. And we've got the safety car and the racers lined up on track. So a nice widespread grid for these guys to get things started on. Let's take a look from top to bottom with the driver's name on. We've got Flair, Nick Edwards, Grandmaster Matt, Keir Martin, Max Yang, Deadly Daniel, Big Blue Dart, Bobert, Rick Nicholson, Slappy, Kyles, Logan Hartwell, Charlie Top Hat, Big Island Boy, St. Dito, Fox, Kaz, and MCP Tron to rock out the back half of the grid. Now keep in mind, these guys are, having a rough time with the qualifying session, but that doesn't mean the race is going to be their peril. It all just comes down to who finishes out on top. And now the lights go, and we'll find out. So Flair off to a great start. We see a little bit of movement in the back there. A couple racers trying to make this 3 wide, make it interesting, as Nick Edwards has a phenomenal jump. And we see 4 wide in the back, and a little bit of contact with Kaz and MCP Tron as we head into the chicane. We'll see who makes it through. A little bit of a spin there, and oh, we see some chaos. Both Techly Racer liveries immediately going out. One Rick Nicholson, one Bobart, but everybody else manages to keep going and keep things relatively clean. Keywords relatively, as we work our way through the later portions of the track. So right off to the bat, Nick Edwards did have a chance but wasn't able to close in on it, as we stick with some of our racers further back to see how the chaos goes. But it looks like the chaos wasn't too bad just yet. We'll jump over here to where we see a little 4-man pack battling it out. Kyles, Deadly Daniel, Big Blue Dart, and Max Yang all looking for a way through, all looking for a way up into the mix, as there's multiple packs forming across the grid into this drafting range. Now we see 2 racers going side by side into a section I told you is not a 2-wide corner, and we'll see how it works out for them. Both racers managed to keep moving, but ooh, Big Blue Dart having a rough time keeping that pace, keeping things going. And thankfully, Deadly Daniel, trying to preserve the length of their race, is not going to let things up that easily. So we end the first lap with Flair on top, followed by Nick Edwards, and a little bit of bump drafting from the boys here in the back. Kyles and Deadly Daniel just trying to close up that gap together. Kyles looking for that inside line, knows he doesn't really have it, but will try to just stay close to Deadly Daniels. We see a couple of track cuts, one from Logan Hartwell, one from Katz, using their early on ones, as we see 2 racers who might have been having some issues trying to avoid each other. Neither one hit the other according to the live timings, but we do see them both go off track and have a little bit of fun, so to speak. I'm watching a 3-ride battle further down the track with Rick Nicholson and a couple other guys, looks like Fox and Bobart, as we get some spins from Charlie Top Hat and Kaz towards the upper portions of the field. I might have been just a little old-fashioned rubbing his racing, as I see both racers clearly fighting, keeping things together up front. Right now, though, this is the gap at hand, the gap to watch. We'll keep an eye on Keir Martin in the top left corner of your screen, as they're trying to make this battle for the podium spots interesting. But we've also got the battles a little bit further back to keep an eye on, as we see both Techly racers at it again. They had incidents earlier before, neither one with each other, but just the victims of misfortune. And it looks like they've learned from that. They're learning to give everybody else space because they don't want to risk out the rest of their race now. And on that note, speaking of now, we're going to jump over to Keir Martin, who almost had a shot at Nick Edwards, lost the position to Grandmaster Matt, so that consistency coming into play in these first 2 laps of the race. And now they're at the peril of that number 7 car. The 87 is sweating. It's going to be a challenge to keep it out of the drafting range into this long straight. They're really going to need a mistake from Keir Martin more than they are a clean corner for themselves. But we'll see what happens in just a moment's time, as it comes down to this corner right here. Can Keir keep the pace, keep the pressure on? And they do manage to get within the edge of that drafting range, and I do mean the absolute edge, as Charlie Top Hat, a little further back, does more than that and is able to get alongside Kaz and look for the switchback opportunity. This is going to be a crucial moment for Charlie. Charlie and Kaz have been fighting since lap 1. I know we're only 5 minutes in, but when you're only in a 20-minute race, these battles for position really count, and they count quickly. We'll see what it is that Charlie can make happen here into this final corner. He's staying out front, and he's staying out strong. This is where the moment really comes to play, as Charlie does manage to complete the move and does manage to stay out in front through that final turn. In fact, I think we heard a little bit of a spin-off for Cads. It's going to be a dangerous rejoin as Bobert manages to sneak his way around, and the other Techley livery has to go wide after a scary defended moment. I believe that one's going to be Rick Nicholson. Yep, trying to work their way around Cads and just follow the other Techley racer. These two guys have been very close together, and that's part of that rookie class battle. Bobert, Rick Nicholson, and Big Blue Dart. Cads is in the mix. He is in the rookie class and has used up a decent amount of the drops already, so he's looking to get by these two if he can, maybe make something happen if the chaos starts to hit, as we see Rick Nicholson slowly moving forward just a little bit at a time, and another little run up with the dirt for, I believe that was Bobert, as these racers try their best to keep moving, keep together, and carry on through. In other spots on the grid, it looks like Deadly Daniel looking for his opportunity to line up Big Blue Dart. So we'll jump over there to the Woohoo Man racer, trying to catch up to the Mazda parts car. Deadly Daniel might have been in a different livery, but sometimes they have a little bit of issues on the broadcast cam. It takes a second or two for things to load in when there's this much going on. Flair now putting up a 1:27.6 so far this lap. Slowly getting faster and faster and widening that gap just a little bit to the three battling it out for the podium behind him. You can actually see him just off of the distance. That tiny red speck is Flair, followed by the three cars who will not let each other breathe. And speaking of not letting each other breathe, I do see Nick with the opportunity now, trying to get in close to Grandmaster and get that position back if he can. The double 87 battle and the double 23 battle have been the ones that we are watching to try and figure out who is going to come out on top in race one. All of these are potential battles for position. Grandmaster Matt wants to stay as far ahead in A-Class as they can, because they never know who's going to join them and what company they will end up with, and this could be key. Nick Edwards well within that drafting range on this straightaway. Can they make something happen going into the final corner? They certainly have a lot of pace to do it. It'll all come down to the exit. Oh, as they get a nose right in there, trying the best to make an opportunity happen, but it's a little bit too early in the race. Grandmaster gets a sense of that and shuts that door. Now Nick's got a bigger problem in the number 7 car right behind him. So Nick sees that coming, tries to cut wide, and that's going to force Kier to take a very awkward line into that chicane, and I think the exit is going to be his downfall. Oh, wow, as he Tokyo drifted around the corner and manages to hang on. So this is going to cause a little bit of a battle here in the P3 position, and that's going to be beautiful for Grandmaster and Flair. That's going to let them try and walk away just a little bit, see what they can do with this newfound opportunity, as we will also open up. Oh, I was going to say Rick Nicholson and Charlie Top out in the corners of your screen. Nick Edwards feeling bad for that one. Doesn't feel like they had the space that they thought they did, and takes responsibility, pulls over to the side, and now makes things interesting. We got P7 all the way up to P4 together. You know, there are worse things to come from these kinds of a race. The good thing is Kier Martin and Nick Edwards are still together. That's actually Max Yang who managed to slip through in the process, but we're not even halfway through this race. There's got plenty of time to get all the way through and make something happen. They're going to have to defend a move from Big Blue Dart just because of the speed that that draft gives you, but if anyone would be able to do it, I think it's going to be this 87 car here, as we see it go flying through, flying by, and staying out in front. So crisis mostly avoided for the 87 car. as we get a little further along into the mix. Now we'll jump over to this battle right here. I was gonna say Rick Nicholson and Charlie Top Hat, but Rick backing things off just a little bit to let Charlie by. Does not want to risk that 2 wide moments that we were talking about earlier, and we'll have to find a new way through. A little bit of a wiggle though is going to put Rick in danger from Bobert, but not enough, as I think those guys are just going to reach an awkward point in their travels. Deadly Daniel, on the other hand, still looking for a way past Big Blue Dart, trying to catch up to Nick Edwards. And we'll see what exactly we can do from there. As we've got Deadly Daniel and a few others in the mix. I'm going to turn on AutoCam for just a second as I got to take care of one quick thing here. Some names we don't have the tolerance for. I do apologize for that. And we will bounce back over to Big Blue Dart in the number 15 livery, trying their best to catch still up, or sorry, make the position back from Deadly Daniel. I think we missed the pass there. Maybe you guys saw it. I was unfortunately dealing with a couple of things on the side as we keep things moving. Now, I do see a couple of other battles happening further back, so we'll try and get over there if we can. Cads and MC Petron fighting it out at the back. Looks like Big Island Boy has made his way into P14. I'm not sure where they started out, but that's definitely a nice little comfortable gap they've earned themselves a little further up the grid. Nick Edwards now possibly fighting with a little bit of cold tires and damage after that incident with Keir Martin. Just looking to get that pace back, looking to lock in, get the head down, and get moving, as we see Cads with a switchback dive into the chicane. That's going to be a little bit tricky as it forces MCP Tron to take an awkward line through. And a little bit of a cut from Cads on the entering to that chicane, but both racers managed to keep things cleanish and keep it going. We'll jump over now to that number 7 car within the draft of Max Yang, looking to make an opportunity happen if they can. As we see them go through with some force here. And Keir Martin now deep within the range, so this is going to be another awkward move from Martin here. The number 7 car looking to get past the Macintosh Racer, and any mistakes is going to open up the door for Nick Edwards to start fighting both of them. As that inner quarter cut does seem to be helping Keir get into these chicanes, but not helping him get out, as both racers are going to have a side-by-side moment, much to the delight of Nick Edwards, and Keir Martin getting a little bit of a flashback. Pulls back to avoid the side-by-side, does not want to end up in another spin again, and the same thing goes for Nick Edwards. Sees the awkward line of the number 7 car ahead and just doesn't want to risk it. And you know what? I can't blame him. I couldn't see the biscuit either. 87 car though now pushing through the straightaway, finds himself within that drafting range, and thankfully for him, Martin did not get the opportunity to close that gap down. So this is all going to be for Nick to speed up and get through. We do see that this is probably one of the closer battles we've got at the moment. I do see Bobert trying to make their way to Charlie Top Hat a little bit further behind. But right now it's all about these 3 right here. Who is going to get this final podium spot? Who is going to make their way all the way through with only 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining? These guys are lapping at about a 1.5 minute pace each. So it is going to be tight as we try and get the entire grid settled out here. Again, Keir Martin going for that inside line into the chicane. Really loves to try and make that move stick out of all of them. And this time has a little bit better luck doing so. But I think that's still going to be Max Yang coming up. Then now Kier's learned a little bit. You see on that one, Kier just trying to hold out, force Max to the outside and give him an awkward line through, and that'll put the 87 and the Macintosh Racer back together and let that 7 car work a little bit of pace further back. On the left-hand side of your screen, Bobert is looking to close that move on Charlie Top Hat into the chicane, so we'll keep a light eye on that as those two battle it out. And it looks like we did get a full-on position shuffle, but a little bit of a drafting train here. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy. Although, speaking of crazy, it looks like Charlie Top Hat was thinking about that one there, was debating getting the move by on Bobert, and is not going to let him take this one very easily. I see a couple of light touch-ups with the environment between Kier Martin and Nick Edwards, but just wall brushes. I don't think they ended up doing anything detrimental, as they are still within that drafting train a little bit further up. And Charlie Top Hat really working his way in here now, really trying to get up to Bobert and get that position back. Should have hung out in that draft just a little bit longer, as these guys are going to be very close, neck and neck with the wall. As we got to do something with this brightness. This is getting crazy. As they dive in through the 100-meter mark and keep moving from there. And we're going to try and do something better right now. I can't do this anymore. Just switch back to the Soul settings. I know they're a little bit grayscale, but I would rather this so we can actually see the liveries in action and figure out the rest in between races. And wow, look at that. A huge dive brings someone right into the mix there. I believe that's Big Island Boy. It is. So Big Island Boy right with these guys, catching up closer and closer in this battle for P12. Charlie Top Hat, Big Island Boy, and Bobert are all in the rookie class. So this is for position. This is for points between the three of them. It is not something they're going to want to take lightly. Big Island Boy still has a little more than 2 laps, probably 3 full laps to try and make something happen, as Nick Edwards looking for the same opportunity on Max Yang. Wants to get back up for a little bit of a run at Kier Martin, if it can happen. Flair out in the open, Grandmaster Matt out in the open. It really comes down to this battle for P3, although Kier Martin seems to have found a way to get in front of it here in race 1. As we look around the rest of the grid, this is where the action is. This is where things are coming down to fruition. We'll see who ends up on top at the end, and it's Nick Edwards going in for the side-by-side. Now, he's already had some issues being the car behind in this section, so he doesn't want to risk that again. Wants to put the 33 car at the awkward position, and manages to do so. That 33 is going to have to hang it out wider than it wants to and give Nick the opportunity to take this nice, clean inside line into the straightaway. And an awkward braking moment for Max Yang is all Nick needed. 2 laps to go, as it looks like Flair will get across the line with enough time to force an extra lap. We will see what they're capable of in the back end. Now, I did see we had a new racer join the grid, now rocking the Harbor Freight Mobile. Gonna jump on with them for just a moment, see what they are looking like, but it seems like they've already been passed by a couple people, haven't really caused any issues. So a clean racer is a welcome racer, as long as the name fits. And oh, Big Island Boy with a little bit of a spin. That one entirely the fault of Broadcaster's curse, as they were having a great run in against MCP Tron. But again, another 2 laps left. This isn't over yet. They'll get another opportunity to make something happen with these last couple seconds remaining, or sorry, last couple minutes remaining. Checking the grid, though, I do think this Bobert and Charlie Top Hat battle is the biggest and closest one that we've got. We've seen them fighting back and forth for the last couple of laps here, and I'm not sure who it is that's going to come out on top, but neither one's going to make it easy for the other. I can tell you that much right now. Let's get rid of that. Now the 7 car of Bobert is going to try and make a clean dive into Charlie Top Hat here. I believe they're going to get away with it. in. Wow, that is a nice tight line to the wall, and I think that's what's going to really help them out, give them the big difference here, is they've got a lot of acceleration. Charlie Dobat, just tries to squeeze the door, and unfortunately causes a little bit of chaos. That one was an interesting moment between them. It was a move that wasn't quite there, but how about that? It looks like karma struck just about right at the same moment, and those two will end up fighting it out and try and make things work just a little bit more. Nick Edwards seems to have found himself in a little bit of contact with a back marker, which I know he is not going to be thrilled about, and now finds himself behind Big Blue Dart, and Deadly Daniel. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there, as we try to figure things out. Hopefully it was more of a rejoin incident, as we don't see where some of these other cars are or what it is that's going on. Now, unfortunately for them, they do find themselves right on the tail of Big Blue Dart, trying to make something happen, and thankfully the back marker steps aside this time to let that battle go by. So we'll see the 87 car and the 55 car battling it out for P6 towards the end. Deadly Daniel has got a little bit of a run in this final lap, further up ahead on Max Yang, but it looks like was not able to capitalize on the draft, unlike Nick Edwards, maybe, who ended up having to just tap the brakes and lose a little bit of acceleration into the back straight. It will now come down to the way they take this final corner. They are in the drafting range, so that's going to start to shift as far as the acceleration goes and open the door up a little bit, but it's going to take two big dives, one in and one out. And we'll see what that 87 car can do, as they are on the wall looking to cut every section off. Flair does cross the line, your winner. Grandmaster Matt with a phenomenal P2. Oh, and the pressure just a little bit too much, as Big Blue Dart does end up going wide into the final straightaway, and that will be Nick Edwards taking back P7 for the end of the lap. Slapping, almost able to catch up in that chaos to make something happen. We'll jump back to Rick Nicholson, who was trying to chase down Logan Hartwell, but seems like it wasn't able to happen here in the end. And it's we do see a couple apologies going out in track, as Nick Edwards reaches out to Keir Martin, even though he did wait, and Keir did end up with that podium still. We see some of the guys looking for that jump opportunity, but unable to get through to it. We'll see if anyone is able to find it. See, they're looking for it, but I don't see anybody taking it. Well, a solid race one here, as we got the rest of the grid crossing by now. We've got Bobert about to cross the line, Fox as well, to wrap things off. And we will end with a pretty decent grid, not too far away from where we started. And only one more race to go. For those wondering, the Knicks did win, as everybody expected. I don't think anybody is remotely surprised by that information. They're going to the finals, and we're just gonna win the whole goddamn thing. That's just what we do. And then New York will riot, and it'll be exciting for everybody. Now that we know just how far apart and staggered the grid is, we're going to back it up just a little bit, as they do start back here, and we'll get ready, loaded, and waiting for race 2. I was going to say, do they actually show the video? They don't. It's a clip from the IndyCar race. Alright, B. Kyle. As we make our way back over to the start finish line, we'll join the stewards here as we get ready for the start of race 2. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, because we've got a reverse grid in stock. That means last place starts first and first place starts last, and that's where things get real interesting. Alright, I am back getting ready for the second race. Again, this one is going to be a reverse grid, so that's going to make things nice and interesting. We see some wild pings as the thing gets started. And we go from there. So, we will do a little bit of a grid walk since the live timings is slightly messed up. Can't exactly be sure as to who we got. We got St. Dido, Cads, Fox, Bobert, Charlie Top Hat, Big Island Boy, MCP Tron, Rick Nicholson, Logan Hartwell, Kyles, Slappin', Big Blue Dart, Nick Edwards, Deadly Daniel, Max Yang, Kier Martin, Grandmaster Matt, and Flair all together. Looks like Logan Hartwell just got disconnected for a ping-related issue right before the grid kicks off. So we will see them rejoin hopefully in a moment. But race has begun, and we'll hop on now with St. Dido trying to keep it strong up front. We see whenever we've got these reverse grids, a lot of action immediately as we've already got 3 wide heading into the first chicane. So people are going to have to decide who's going where. And we see those decisions did not quite work out as plenty of racers unable to avoid the contact, just getting sandwiched throughout, but still moving forward. Looks like we saw a little bit of a nudge there from Charlie Top Hat with Max Yang. I'm not really sure what we're watching there as we see even more nudging even further up ahead. So just the real rookie racing race 2 chaos starting up as normal. And we do see, who is that, Charlie Top Hat just obliterating cars left and right. I'm not sure if Charlie's got a radar on or what, because Charlie's had a rough start to the second event. But we will see as we've got 3 wide going on right now. Everybody's got to have a little bit of space. I know there's action going on up ahead, but it looks like Max Yang wants nothing to do with whatever's going on there. Nick Edwards a little bit further up the grid, trying for his own side-by-side moment. This time managing to come out on top, which I'm pretty impressed with in this section, as we see cars off all over the place. Chaos and contacts left, right, and center. That is an interesting way to start the event. We'll jump up with Cads, though, who does seem to have escaped relatively cleanly. And we'll watch as the grid comes through the chicane for one more go of it. And speaking of having some issues, I see a little bit more going on here. Flair, Big Blue Dart, Max Yang, all just trying to find their ways through wherever they can. Is a little bit tricky. I can't blame them, as we've got the side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel action between the 2 contenders trying to get their way back up top. We see the 55 car going off as these 2 hammer on through into danger territory, as we've got Charlie Top Hat and Flair trying to find ways past each other. Flair manages to get by. Can Max Yang find a similar move, driving with a little bit of a caution on the Arizona Cherry Blossom car, but manages to stay within the drafting range to try and catch up. I do see a couple of extra wide moments going on up front. We'll put on the Slappin' and Grandmaster show a little bit further up the way, as we also see 2 wide there, and Max Yang thinking about how they want to go through this with Charlie, as Fox and Cads have a little bit of a run-in, and Max Yang chooses to play it safe for another lap. Oh, that is a dangerous rejoin there. Looks like from Cads, as it ends up costing Flair a lot. Charlie Top Hat ends up having to give him a little bit of a bump draft, and now those 2 are going to go side by side into a chicane, as we see cars off the line all over the place. And it's really the rejoins more than the incidents that are the scary parts of today's event, as Cads this time just swinging things wide a little bit, as there are a couple racers just too close together, slightly further behind. We'll jump on with Kyles now, looking to get by whoever he can, get a position back here, there, anywhere. And we're gonna jump over to AutoCam just so I can make a quick announcement about rejoins and everything else. It's just a friendly reminder that we don't need to call each other out in the chats and everything like that. It's a rookie racing server in a reverse grid. We knew the chaos was going to strike. We may not have known it was going to strike to this extent, as we see a lot of racers just trying to make it through, and Flair just getting beaten up and facing the complete wrong way here on the grid, but managing to keep going. As Flair finds themselves in P15, a couple of chances for improvements, but unfortunately not too many clean ones, not through their own fault, just the chaos of the track at this point in the race. It's kind of hard to say who is causing what, as I think everybody's just scrambling at this point to get any lap back they can right now. Slapping, moving past Fox with Nick Edwards, but managed to have a little bit of a cleaner line through since they weren't battling through the corner, and will be able to make a move past the 87 car for the moment. But we've seen Nick Edwards take that inside line through this first corner, and I think they might go for it again, thinking about it. And a light brush up on the grass for both racers, but still moving, as they managed to do probably the best job of side-by-side through the final corner I think we have seen in this event for sure, of the day possibly. And you can tell the difference between race 1 and race 2, as these guys are not helping each other out. MC Petron just going for it here as we head into the chicane. We'll see if that late braking opportunity helps. He does get a little bit squeezed, but he'll have a cleaner line through the exit, as Slappin ends up going a little bit wide onto the grass. A little further in your screens, we do see Bobert get passed by Max Yang, so that's going to be the opportunity that Max was looking for, as we see St. Dido getting within drafting range for a moment of the car ahead. Looks like Big Blue Dart, so I thought we were going to see a little something there, but not quite yet. Although maybe I shouldn't have clicked away too soon, because it looks like Slappin not ready to give up that P3 spot just yet. Gonna make MC Petron work for it as they head into the final straightaway. Now I do see Slappin trying to take that outside line, or in that inside line into this corner, the way that they saw Nick Edwards do it. But I think running on the grass once is all anybody's really going to want to do. And I do seem to be correct about it as they get going. Max Yang and Big Island Boy with a little bit of bump drafting, if I understand the contact correctly, as Max trying to just get Big Island Boy along, trying to get some distance between themselves and the car behind, working together a little bit if they can, as Max really desperate to close up whatever gap they can. So just showing the intervals from the top, you can see these guys are all very far spread from the lead car, which for some reason seems to be tracking us in the broadcast car. Oh, and a little bit of a mishandling from Big Island Boy is going to open up the door for Max Yang. I think that 33 car is going to start to fly. I don't believe they're going to be waiting for any other opportunity than that one right there, as we hear some touch up with the inside grass from Big Island Boy, which will give Max the breathing space I'm sure they were looking for. On the left-hand corner of your screen, we were watching Deadly Daniel come around the bend. We're going to watch from the perspective of Bobert, though, as he's trying to get into the mix, hoping that anything happens with those guys back there. Big Blue Dart in the bottom of your screen, also looking for a way up on Charlie Top Hat if the opportunity presents itself. So I'm not seeing it in the cards for Bobart this lap. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen for Daniel, though, as Daniel creeping closer and closer to Kyle's in the 87 car in front. Can he get by is the million-dollar question before this big lap here. And it doesn't look like he is. We are halfway through the race, so we're going to start to see even more desperation to get further up these grids as time goes on. Charlie Top Hat and Big Blue Dart, a little bit of chaos there in the left-hand side of your screen as we see Big Blue Dart getting off the track, going wide a little bit, and has to restart that battle. Flair, a man on a mission, now in P13, putting up fastest laps of the race with a 12:57, a huge dive there on Bobart, and it's just going to keep pushing. I don't think we're going to see Flair let up for the remainder of the race. They are not ready for, or they're not ready to concede just yet. They're going to look for any opportunity they can to get by this grid and get across back into those podiums, maybe, if they can. As they say, a little bit of contact with Deadly Daniels and Kyle's, and Flair's going to use that to get by it and navigate his way through and keep moving. Flair has now found their way into the top 10. There's not a lot of time remaining, but they are halfway through the race. If you were able to fall back that far halfway through the race, there's no reason you can't gain it back. And unfortunately for the rest of the grid, only Grandmaster Matt is really lapping at a competitive enough pace to hold him at bay with a 1:27.9 on that last lap. We'll see what Nick Edwards puts up here. Looks like also a 1:27.9, so I stand corrected. Those two are ready to play. They are ready to stay out in front and don't want to see the rest of the grid get any closer to them. So Flair really hoping to catch up to this MCP Tron Slappin and Keir Martin group, which, speaking of, it looks like Martin's going to look for their opportunity in just a moment's time here, probably into that straightaway if they can keep this distance and keep things moving. Kyle's going for the inside line on the left-hand side of your screen against Bobart into the chicane and manages to pull it off, as we see Big Island Boy looking for the same thing on Kaz. But it looks like Kaz may have just had a slightly better line through the chicane and is able to hold it. Speaking of hold it, Keir Martin holds that less than 3/10 gap into the straightaway, which is exactly what they needed. This is going to be the drafting opportunity to pull alongside. They do seem to pull out a little bit early, though, so I don't know if they didn't want to get ahead just right or they're being a little bit overly cautious, but they are going to force slapping into a side-by-side moment, pushing them into that awkward line as they manage to carry some pace through. They definitely leave enough space for the Golden Marlboro car as they now get themselves into a little bit of a drag race, but that number 7 had a little bit more of a run into the straight, and that'll be what helps them out the most. So Keir Martin now just needing to defend into the first turn. We've seen them take that nice inside line through the chicane before, and they managed to do it again, this time with a little bit of ease, a little bit of class, as Max Yang finds themselves into P7, as Fox looking to not only make a move, but keep Flair at bay. Flair currently lapping in the 27s, barring a little mistake here, a little mistake there, and Fox has a wiggle that I know Flair is going to be looking to eat up as soon as he gets the chance. So we'll see what that 2-second gap comes down to in the later moments. Big Island Boy and Cads at it again. These two guys do not let up. They are just fighting side by side, neck and neck throughout the entire race here. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top, as they've both been doing a great job of staying with each other. Cads seems to pick it up right at the end of the straightaway. Actually, we've got the Minnesota car versus the Maryland car, so that's kind of funny if anyone's on the Geography Meme subreddit. Not that they were fighting, but state battles are the name of the game right now, and the name of the game is fight, as Big Blue Dart has joined the mix. We've got a 3-man rookie fight going on here as we are in the lap number 9 of the evening, and wow, a beautiful run for Big Blue Dart is going to put them ahead of Cads. Are they going to be able to squeeze out Island Boy, who is defending that inside line very bravely, as we head closer and closer through. This is going to be what Cats is looking for, though, a single mistake from either one of these racers, as Big Blue Dart just sends it a little bit too hard and has to turn right to go left in the background, but manages to stay out of the wall and keep moving, as we will see the same battle again. Cads versus Big Island Boy. Cads coming out on top into the chicane as was predicted, but that is not where their battle ends. We'll keep an eye on Flair for you in the left-hand side of your screen. Flair moving up a little bit at a time, little bit at a time. It is phenomenal to watch as we see the number 77 car now struggling to get that position. Oh, but Cads a little bit light on the wheel, and an overcorrection is going to give. Yeah, we got to slow it down and catch back up. There we go. All right, so we got the grip back on. Kaz back moving and finds themselves in an unfortunate situation now, back about, looks like 5 seconds from Big Island Boy, who is successfully defending against Charlie Top Hat behind him. Deadly Daniel, though, looking for the move. Now manages to get past the 87 car and was within 3/10 of Fox in the Macintosh Racer. Can he get by in these final few corners? We're actually getting closer and closer to the end here. Grandmaster Matt's pretty comfortable, but I don't think anybody else is particularly thrilled with where their race is ending up so far. We do see Deadly Daniel get by Fox in the straightaway. I don't know that Fox is just going to let that happen. Oh, and Kyle's definitely isn't, as they send one from just about Narnia and managed to make it through. Fox with a very early braking point is exactly what they needed to happen, as Big Island Boy and Charlie Top Hat pull themselves alongside each other for the chicane, both giving each other plenty of space. That was probably the most gentlemanly side-by-side we've ever seen. Plenty of respect between the two racers in that moment. Charlie racing with a map or radar here in the back half of the race. I joke, but you know, these things happen in the reverse grid. There's so many cars together. You're watching the cars in front and behind. You're trying your best to just stay out of everybody's way without losing too many positions, and it leads to a little bit of chaos. There's so many differences in pace around some of these corners. There's nothing deliberate going on, I can assure you that, and that's why it's a rookie racing server. We try not to let anybody call each other out. We all just try to work hard, get our ways through, and you know, anything that does happen can always be corrected in the coach's paddock, or sorry, in the tickets. We do have coaching done and everything like that to avoid high contact moments. So again, that is the trials of a rookie server, but that's why there's so many dropped races. 5 of your lowest scoring events out of 13 are drops. Plenty of forgiveness throughout the overall season. Speaking of forgiveness, Flair not done fighting, looking to get back up to at least Rick Nicholson as they get closer and closer and closer around these corners. Probably about 2 laps remaining, if I had to guess, looking at Grandmaster's current spot. So I do see the move on Rick Nicholson definitely possible. Max Yang going to be a much harder target to acquire. Will rely on him to make a mistake here and there, and Flair looking for a way by, hesitates on the quick move around because he doesn't want to lose that draft into the final corner, but that might have been his undoing. A move that could have been completed, arguably, into this corner here. Now he's going to have to wait just a little bit longer. It looks like maybe not. Flair managed to find a way by and is going to try and turn this into a dogfight down the straightaway and hope that he's got the later braking point on Rick Nicholson to stay out and in front. Rick doing a great job in that rookie class. Doesn't really see too many people he's competing with, so to speak. So that will certainly help him out. And I think Flair, I was going to say, is going to outbrake him here into that chicane and have to get real creative with it, as that was a tricky line. I think he went a little bit too late on the brakes and is now going to be fighting from behind again. A little further back in the grid, we've got Logan Hartwell in the drafting range, looking to get P15 back as Flair manages to get through Rick Nicholson. And we'll jump over to see how the chicane goes, but it looks like it goes in Logan's favor as we see Cats creeping up to these guys, trying to join the fun on Big Blue Dart behind. So we'll have 3 guys racing it out with 2 laps remaining for them, and we'll see what happens. Now, they have managed to avoid getting... I was going to say they have managed to avoid getting lapped, but a little bit more contact like that is absolutely going to cost them in the grand scheme of things. I want to jump up though for a second to take a look at Slappin and MCP Tron. MCP Tron did find a way through Slappin with relative ease earlier in the event, and it's like Slappin has turned on the extra gear here in the final couple laps of the race. It's just some serious pace we've been watching from Slappin, getting closer and closer within that striking range, as Deadly Daniels looking to do the same thing for P8 on Rick Nicholson a little bit further behind. It is not clear who is going to come out on top or where, as we see a little bit of contact with Big Island Boy and Charlie Top Hat further back in the grid. Now Flair has crawled their way all the way up to P7, but manages to keep going. As we see the side-by-side finally come to battle, Slappin now making their way through MCP Tron, and just needs to hold it for one more straightaway. This is going to be the dogfight. Who is going to walk away in the final moments with, I believe, P4, as it looks like Slappin is just barely able to stay ahead, and they do. Just barely, but they do. That is a phenomenal way to end the race for those guys there. I don't see anything else too close other than Cats looking to get back P16 from Big Blue Dart. We'll hang on with this grouping here, as we've got our usual chaos from race 2, obviously making things a little bit interesting, not always in a good way, but thankfully everybody made it to the end. We didn't see any disconnects, any mechanical failures of sorts, and that's what we're looking for. Just everybody to finish, although I say just everybody to finish, and it looks like Big Blue Dart might not be finished yet. They're going to try and make something happen here at the end, and just barely falls short of Charlie Top Hat there. I'm sure unfortunate for the both of them. And MCP Tron does confirm in, there's the jump. You actually can barely see it, but I see now the little bit of elevation change in that blind grass. Good to know. But yeah, it wasn't the cleanest race all around. Things do happen. Obviously, it's not ideal for everybody who did not get to see their race go through to the end, but that is just how they go. And look, they've got a George Russell box on the side. And on that note, we appreciate everybody checking in for another event. See you boys Friday.